But don't look in your rearview mirror, here comes number 8. He's a rocker and a roller and he sure knows how to shut him down. I guess he runs independent until my dad is back in town. Yeah, I guess he runs independent until my dad is back in town. Bad boy, stand on it, son.
And welcome to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that in the 1978 Southern 500, D.K. Ehrlich was suspended for the rest of the season after nitrous oxide was found in his car? So anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, a.k.a. Mike Bob Fan 101, with my good friends and co-host, Christian, a.k.a. Savage NASCAR.
What's up?
And Cam, a.k.a. Ice by Cam.
Audio.
And a very special guest who's going to be talking with us tonight. We got the _lap _ aka TJ Spira.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
So TJ, thank you so much for joining the show. We really appreciate it. If you don't mind, we're just going to ask you a couple questions before we get started about our usual podcast business. So first question is, how did you get into NASCAR?
So I got into NASCAR in 1994. I was 4 years old, and my dad and I were just flipping through the channels, and it happened to be a Daytona race, and I saw a McDonald's car, and I said, "That's my driver," just with no history. And Jeff Gordon actually ended up winning the race, and ever since then, I became a huge Jeff Gordon fan.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your Instagram account here. Obviously, you make some pretty good memes.
Yeah,
what made you decide to make your account?
Well, honestly, I just think I like to think that I'm funny. But I'm not always funny. So if I can make someone laugh because I'm funny, that's awesome. But if you want to laugh at me, that's fine too. I just want to spread some joy and make people laugh.
I respect that, man. I respect that a lot.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions for him?
Yeah, I really enjoy watching your memes, and they definitely give me a good laugh and everything. And as you mentioned, the 1994 season, if I'm correct, that was one of the twin 125s that Jeff Gordon won, and the McDonald's car was Jimmy Spencer. One thing you mentioned to us before we started recording the podcast today is you have a podcast yourself. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. Me and my cousin, we started a podcast. We were kind of off and on before, but now we're trying to stay pretty hardcore about it. We record on Monday nights and also post on Monday nights. So it's usually the post race of whatever race happened the night before, and then pre-race of the next race. And we try to make you laugh there too. So come laugh with us. Take a laugh around the track with us.
Yeah, go subscribe to him. I think he's on Spotify, Apple, stuff like that. So I'll put his link in the description box below.
Gotcha. And one other thing I wanted to ask you, what's some of your favorite NASCAR races, or has there been any particular races that you've been to that are of note?
So my first race I ever went to was a 2000 Pocono race, and it was the race Jeremy Mayfield bumped Dale Earnhardt.
Move on the outside there. Mayfield going for his second career win at Pocono. He nudges him out of the way. Earnhardt goes high. Mayfield is going to win here at Pocono. Oh my! Dale Earnhardt gets rooted out of the way. Jeremy Mayfield waves out of the window. And Mayfield at the final turn of the final lap pushes Earnhardt aside and grabs the win in the Pocono 500.
In the final corner to win the race. And that got me hooked right away because I knew Dale Earnhardt was a villain to me as a Jeff Gordon fan. And so seeing that live was just wild. And then I also saw Jeff Gordon's final win at Martinsville. And
let's get a 2015 season. Out of 3 and 4, this win's going to punch his ticket to the championship 4. Gordon wins at Martinsville.
Yeah, that's how you fight. That's how you do it. That was huge. That was huge. God, I love you guys. Great job. Way to hang in there. That's what I'm talking about. Fighting and digging, boys. That's what we do.
I bet it was. And yeah, that was a big moment. I remember I wasn't at that Martinsville race, but I was at the one in 2013 that he won. But yeah, that Martinsville race is pretty memorable, and not just for Jeff's win as well, but also to the ire of Logano fans with the Logano Kenseth incident. But
And Kenseth cleared by Logano. Maybe no. Kenseth takes him out. Logano into the wall. Caution comes out and the crowd roars.
That brings up bad memories.
Yeah, I get lots of PTSD from that.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
It's cool. It's cool.
But anyways,
I actually have a question myself. I just want to know, like, has anybody ever gotten like super, super heated over like a joke that you've made maybe about NASCAR? Like,
almost on a daily basis, and I always have to remind them that it's a joke. Even if I'll like say I'm a huge fan of Kyle Larson, but I'm gonna make fun of him right now, and people still jump on me for it. So yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, that sucks.
One of my favorite memes that you made recently was one you did in your car when it had to do with the girl, like that one TikTok where she's like, "What'd you do if I'm your car?"
Yeah,
that was so funny, dude. It
I
had me
appreciate
dying laughing.
If you guys knew how hard I sweated trying to get car seats out of the back of my vehicle, it was awful. I had to towel off before I recorded.
Yeah. Oh man.
So anyway, let's get started on this week's races. At Daytona, regular season finale for Cup. We're going to start out with the Xfinity Series race, though. What did you guys think? TJ, start us off.
Man, that Xfinity Series race was awesome. I was a little nervous when they said that they changed the package, kind of slow the cars down. Obviously, it was for, good reason. We don't want anyone getting hurt or worse. But, man, it was phenomenal, especially watching those AJ Allmendinger and the Kaulig cars work together. It was amazing.
Yeah, it definitely was a good race, and Kaulig Racing pretty much dominated it. I don't know why, but every time I doubt them, they go out and win. So I doubted them again, and yet again they proved me wrong. And we saw Justin Haley go back to victory lane, and Allmendinger said that he was his son in the post-race interview. But it was a pretty decent race. There was a couple of wrecks, but it wasn't a great race in my opinion. What about you, Cam? Mike?
I thought it was a pretty good race. A lot of battling. I mean, it was not – I don't really like the package, but I understand why it's there. But one thing that really did shock me, though, was the finish. And
that last lap, couldn't believe it. 3 wide, the Kaulig cars off of turn 4. Whose was it going to be?
Unbelievable. Big push in the middle. I thought it was Allmendinger for sure, and then the top came through. I mean, time and time again, this track doesn't disappoint, and Kaulig proves they are great at the speedways.
Fast race cars, drivers with intention and a plan. That's very difficult to beat.
And I want to mention, at the end of the last episode, I picked AJ Allmendinger, and then the day I was editing it and I was putting it up, I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to pick Justin Haley. So I made another video in the editor that was like, hey guys, I'm changing my pick to Justin Haley. Okay guys, so while I was editing the video for this week, I decided to change my pick from AJ Allmendinger to Justin Haley. So disregard my last pick. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the video. So disregard the last pick. And AJ was leading. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna look so dumb. And then Haley passed him. I'm like, I am so smart.
The haters will say it was a rigged pick.
Yeah, the haters will say that I put it up late, even though that it was way before the race started. What did you think about it, Cam?
I actually really like this race. If you guys don't know, Justin Haley is one of my favorite drivers when it comes to Xfinity. I like him. I've never really had much issues with him, and seeing him in victory lane was pretty cool. Sucks that Allmendinger didn't get it though. I was really rooting for him, man, and it just didn't happen. And just kind of sucked. But it was a good race.
Now let's take a look at what you guys had to say. 3 of you said great. 2 of you said good. 1 of you said meh/okay, and none of you said bad. There's no thoughts, strange, and no driver of the day. I gotta go ahead. I'll give it to Noah Gragson was doing really well, but also I'll give it to Justin Haley for that pass.
Yeah, I have to say the same.
Same.
Yeah, even Jed Burton, so close to 1, 2, 3 finish, and that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to win. I think at Talladega, but I just like to see him win. So it was awesome to see him up front.
Yeah, very true. So now let's talk about the Cup race. That was a pretty eventful race. What did you guys think of it?
Well, the Cup race definitely. I knew there was going to be wreck, but I didn't think there was going to be that many wrecks in this race. And first off, I have to say, probably the most notable wreck was the one with Chase Elliott.
Big run for Chase Elliott. He goes up top to try to block. The 21 tries to go by the 9. They make contact. The 9 into the wall. The 9 slides the 21 into the wall. He
Big
collects
crash.
them in a big crash happening.
So much blocking.
And, we'll probably get into that in a little bit. But I thought the racing was pretty good. I thought there was a lot of great passing and teamwork in this race. And I picked Denny Hamlin to win, and he ended up getting wrecked. So, yet again, my pick gets wrecked on the super speedway. But it was a great race, though. I thought it was pretty interesting. And I knew Ryan Blaney's really good in super speedways. And I just thought that he wasn't going to win. I didn't think he was going to win, and he proved me wrong. And if I'm correct, that race also was the same day as the Xfinity Series race because the Xfinity race got rained out. And, we saw contenders like Matt Benedetto get caught up in a wreck. We saw Tyler Reddick was in a wreck, but he came back despite his damage and still made it into the playoff. Austin Dillon had a good chance to make it in, but he got caught up in that last lap wreck, which
For this.
Harvick running second. A big shove coming from the middle. Daniel Suarez in the 99. He gets turned into the 4, and they go into the wall. The next flag will end the race.
Right side. Caution out.
And there is the caution flag. Ryan Blaney wins. The big accident happens behind him.
Kurt Busch was pushing a little too hard, and it turned Suarez into Harvick, and then everyone goes into the wall on the backstretch yet again. But yeah, I have to give that race probably 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, looking at this race, like what Savage said, there was a lot of wrecks, which, I was kind of expecting a little bit, but we haven't seen this many in a while when it comes to Daytona in my mind. And I love seeing Blaney win. That was always great to me. I like Blaney. He's a nice guy. I never see him cause issues, Seeing Chase Elliott up in that crash was great. And Hamlin, also great. Felt like sweet victory. All right. And, if I had to rate it, I'd probably give it what Savage did, a 7 out of 10. It was a really good race.
Yeah, Daytona, obviously we know it's a wild card race. You go in there with one playoff spot left, and it still goes to the person with the most points, which I did not expect that at all. I thought someone was going to go up there and get a win and knock Tyler Reddick out. But yeah, I thought it was a good race. Another race where they changed the package out of safety. I don't know if you guys saw, but I think it was Kevin Harvick who was basically perpendicular to the track and barely lifted off the track at all. So obviously that speaks volumes to what they did with the changes that they made to the package to make it safer. But I'd rate it a 7.5 to an 8, honestly. Sometimes Daytona can be kind of boring when they want to go single file, but there wasn't a whole lot. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say also that Harvick had a chance to possibly win that race as well. We saw Bubba Wallace get a top 2. He finished second after Chris Buescher failed inspection. That surprised me. I haven't really seen a car fail inspection in a while at Daytona, but Buescher did, and that disqualified him or put him to the – I don't know. Did they disqualify him or did they put him in last?
I think it's both.
I believe he went – yeah. But I want to say last.
Once you get disqualified, you go to last, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Also, are we going to call Blaney the new Where Did He Come From? Mr. Where Did He Come From?
I would personally.
Yeah, I think so too. And Harvick, maybe the Mr. He's a little too far back there right now.
Oh.
But I have a feeling they'll change it around. Him and Richard Childers, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great race. I know that no one probably asked, but since like I live in the DMV area, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia, they were playing a Washington football team game versus the Baltimore Ravens, and I couldn't see the first half of the race, so I had to use a live stream. Which, by the way, watching on a live stream is actually more enjoyable than I thought. But yeah, I really thought the race was good. Really typical race at Daytona. There was some single file racing toward the end of the second stage, and I was panicking because Joey Logano was in the lead. And for those of you who don't know, Joey Logano is my favorite driver. So yeah, that was definitely great, and exciting finish too. Like for starters, with the Chevys and the Toyotas, I didn't know when they were going to pit. The Toyotas had a pretty solid strategy once I saw Harvick, put his hand out the window. So I'm not sure if he was really leading that. But yeah, I was really just like confused when they were going to pit, and it all worked out for Blaney. And then those final cautions when Logano lost his tire, that was a big pain moment. And also that dumb block that Chase Elliott made, which I don't fault him too much for it since it's Daytona, but I do agree that it was dumb. But overall, congratulations to Blaney. Definitely a great race. I'll give it. I'll agree with you guys. I'll say like an 8.
Yeah, that Chase Elliott wreck, it definitely was his fault. Coming from a Hendrick Motorsports fan, it was his fault, and it stacked up the field. Hamlin got to Benedetto, and around they went. So I know a lot of people are clowning Elliott fans about that, but I'm saying it's a racing deal. He was blocking like Ricky Stenhouse, and I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, and then that last wreck, I forgot like what TJ mentioned with the package. You guys can stop complaining, because if that were the old package when Logano flipped at Talladega, Harvick would have flipped over, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Like, I wasn't really that big of a fan of changing the package, but then once I saw, the racing didn't really change too much, and also, like it doesn't keep them from flipping, or they don't flip. That's fine. So keep it that way.
Also, I think it was the most lead changes since 2011. So if anything, it might have made it more exciting.
Facts. I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know there's most lead changes since 2011. It's crazy.
Yep. And just an update, Chris Buescher did finish 40th. So.
Yep.
So here's what you guys had to say. All 10 of you said great. That is the first time that a race has been rated with everybody saying the same rating and everybody just saying great. So that could be a contender for race of the year for this channel. Here's what you guys actually had to say. Henry24257 says, lots of crashes, and Hamlin is Sir Chokes a lot.
I like that one.
They call me _Lucius says, the competition was intense and the wrecks were good. And Yo Boy J42 says, almost on choo-choo training, and my favorite driver got P2. Driver of the day is between Chase Elliott and Ryan Newman, which no disrespect, but that's some weird picks for driver of the day. I'll give it to Blaney. Sometimes I don't really like to give it to the winner a whole lot, but he definitely was aware where did he come from, played his cards right. So I'll give it to Blaney.
For me, it has to be, Newman's not a bad one because he had a really good race and he moved his way up to the front there. I think he finished 6th. I may be wrong. For me, it has to be either between Blaney, Harvick, or Bubba Wallace. And I know that might surprise some people, but Bubba Wallace had a great race. He was able to get his way up through there. He avoided the wrecks barely. And I think Tyler Reddick might be a nominee too, because he had to deal with that overheating issue in that one wreck, and he came back and got a playoff spot. So for me, it's between Blaney or Tyler Reddick.
That's true, actually. I forgot about the Tyler Reddick thing. I might give it to Tyler Reddick because he finished the race with that damaged car.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving it to Reddick. He showed a lot of adversity through this race, and he also dealt with a lot. So because of this, I am going to give it to him, and he made it into the playoffs. So that's a big win for him.
Yeah, so Ryan Newman finished third, Tyler Reddick fifth. But I think I would have to go with, if I'm going to think outside the box, I will go with BJ McLeod or Josh Bilicki, 9th and 10th. That's pretty awesome for two small
that's
teams.
True.
Those are
Bilicki was the only Rick Ware car not caught up in that really weird accident. When McLeod, he avoided the wrecks really good in that sweet-looking Gator car.
Yeah, Bilicki didn't get the memo on which lap to wreck, apparently.
Yeah. And actually, I think I am going to change. I'm going to change my driver of the day to Tyler Reddick. You guys are right, with that insane playoff spot. So now let's talk about some silly season news. We're going to start off with Kurt Busch to 2311. What did you guys think of it?
It was something we mentioned before. I don't remember who it was, but one of us said that there's a possibility that Kurt Busch might go there. I didn't think it was going to happen. Personally, I thought it would be a bad move for him, and I still probably think so. I know that might surprise people, but I don't think it's a good move. I did not think he was going to retire, though, unlike some people. And the number placement on the reveal triggered a lot of people. It triggered most of the fan base, including myself, and them doing that. And the number movement is definitely a bad move. And it just shows NASCAR doesn't listen to its fans all the time, or I should say at least 95% of the time.
Yeah, I am the one who said that. I thought maybe they might pick up Kurt Busch, which I'm still a little shocked though, because really I don't think it was the best move for them to do. But I just know that it's 23XI. Like, come on now, look at the leaders that are running it. One guy's good, and the other one's just really stupid. I think you can put two and two together and see who I'm talking about. But until then, I guess you're just stuck there. But I hate the number placement. I hate to say it, but the number placement is so bad. It's just so bad. Like, it honestly, it could turn like any like car scheme that's like really, really sexy into just like absolute dog water. And I don't want that. I don't want dog water. All right. That is gross. It is disgusting. They need to change it. And Kurt Busch, just, I don't know what they're thinking on this. I mean, if he does good and shocks me, well, okay. But until I see that happen, I'm not agreeing with this.
Yeah, so I think we can all agree that 2311 made out the best in this deal. They're getting a former champion, a very experienced driver. He's bringing sponsorship in Monsters Energy. So, it's good for Kurt because it's the tail end of his career. But you'll also look at the teams that he raced for. He raced for Phoenix Racing and, probably outperformed there. He went to Furniture Row and probably outperformed there. So what a great asset for 2311. And then not to mention to race for the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Sorry if you guys are LeBron GOATs, but I'm a Michael Jordan GOAT. Yeah, so I think it's awesome. It's great for the sport. And as far as the number placement, I'm a traditionalist. I want it in the center of the door. But hopefully some of these car designers can make it work and come out with some dope schemes to convince us otherwise.
You made a great point with Furniture Row Racing and Phoenix Racing, and it may be a good move for him, but for me, I just don't think it's a good move in regard to his career, but it could be good for stats, and it could be good he could probably even get a win for them. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Absolutely. Because as you mentioned, he's former champion. He's done well in teams that a lot of people said that he wasn't going to do good, and he definitely changed their mind. Like, the one that sticks out to me the most, of course, is Furniture Row Racing with the 78. He raced that team into the chase, if I'm correct, in 2013. And he definitely, I think he got a win or two that season as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just want to point out another thing that kind of annoys me too is like, you got to think that them pushing, the number a little farther to the left. I mean, it looks meh with, two numbers, but like, what is it going to look like with one? Like, how bland is it going to be?
That's
true, like, and how spaced out is it going to be? Like, I just think it's going to look so ugly and just out of proportion. And I don't know. I just think, once again, NASCAR does not listen to their fans and cares more about the money, which is just, sucky.
Yeah, I think the only positive outcome that could come from this is sponsorship, like more sponsors coming into the sport because they see the value in the number change. But I mean, it's an eyesore.
Yep.
Yeah. First off, Kurt Busch to 23XI. I think it's a solid move. I mean, first of all, you're right, TJ. He is at the end of his career. I mean, he's like what 40 something already. So that's definitely a good move for him to at least end his career out on. Secondly, they have decent equipment. I mean, obviously they got an alliance with Joe Gibbs, so he could still contend a little bit. But I also think that this will benefit Bubba Wallace a little bit because Kurt will help him out a little more in maturing as a person and also driving wise, maybe helping him, giving some tips, because obviously Kurt's a veteran. And as for the number placement thing, I thought it was just going to be like a couple of inches, like not directly on the door, but just like move like, I don't know, 2-3 inches, but not to the whole, I don't know, like that far. Like it was just way too far and it looked awful. And I'm not a fan of it. And I think that the team should be able to decide if they want the number to be on the door or if they want it to be moved somewhere else, because obviously they're the ones designing the cars. I think the teams and the sponsors should be able to be like, hey, we want the door or the number here, so that way, I don't know, Monster Energy can have much more space and we can have a bigger logo.
Right. Also, how often are the side of the? I mean, I guess it is like going down the back. Yeah, I guess that is pretty prominent area to have sponsorship. So I don't know.
Yeah. And also we got Noah Gragson returning to JRM. What did you guys think of this?
Not surprised.
Yeah, I gotta go with Savage. I'm just not surprised at all. I mean, he's been doing good. They're obviously gonna want him back, and he's obviously gonna take the deal. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, especially after a season like this year for him, it's kind of been a rough go. So if next year is his last season, maybe he can go out on a high. I mean, he could still go out on a high this year, but with maybe more wins next year.
Facts.
I personally thought that he was going to go to GMS for Cup just to develop a little bit. So I was a little shocked by that. And, I don't mean to sound kind of arrogant here, so please excuse me if I do, but I had almost every silly season prediction right except Gragson. So thanks, Noah. But yeah, I think that it's a pretty solid move. I mean, he didn't really have the season that he was looking for, and that's okay. You're gonna have bad years sometimes, even though he hasn't really had too much of a bad year. He's just had a pretty decent year. He's still contended a little bit, so maybe now with no Cindric and no Burton, he can contend a little bit more.
It's just that Noah Gragson started off really bad. I just think his performance really just like rubbed off really bad on him. And that's really why I don't think he's ready yet. And I mean, maybe that's just how he is. Maybe he's a driver that has to heat up slowly. And, I think we'll start to see that sooner than later. But, for now, I just think it was a bad season, in the start. But he's starting to fix it and, correct it, which, I think is a positive note for him. So, it's a decent season so far. And maybe next year he can really put out something good.
I agree. And then finally tonight, we got Tommy Joe Martins, Caesar Barcarwa, or however you pronounce his name, my apologies, and Raja Kruf. Well, Caesar and Tommy are going to be starting a team, but Raja is going to be driving in some of the races. This is some strange news to me. What do you guys think of it?
Are you talking about Caesar Baccarelli?
Yes.
I didn't really think anything of the news. I mean, it kind of surprised me that they're starting their own team. And I don't know what really to say about it. I mean, they're Xfinity drivers, and they've been doing sort of decent. They haven't been doing great. I mean, I don't know what to say about this, to be honest.
I'm just excited because I just think this is gonna be absolutely awful. Like no offense or nothing. I just think this is gonna be absolute like trash, and this is gonna be great. Like it's gonna be like a whole team, a bunch of Stenhouses. No offense, but I just think it's just like it's just drivers there that just sit there to, just get racked in. You know what I mean? Like, no offense, but I do see that as that. So I'm a little excited to see how this turns out.
Do you think it'll be like Danica Patrick 2012, but 2022 version?
Yes.
Okay. If you get that joke, Patrick wrecked a lot in 2012.
Yeah. So I think it's great. Tommy Joe Martin was going to go compete in a half season next year, wasn't committed to a full season, but now with Barcarelli on board, they're doing a full season. Tommy Joe Martin is going to race, I think, about 16 races. Barcarelli is going to race a bunch of other ones. And then Raj is going to race. He's confirmed for 3, Richmond, Martinsville, and Dover, but they're also looking at Kentucky and Pocono, I believe. So, and it's another young talent coming up. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much of an opinion on it because, it is small, but it's kind of shocking because, like, I didn't expect, like, this pairing, especially with Karuf, but I think it'll be interesting to see someone new here. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. So now let's get into a little bit of the official playoff predictions. We did do an episode where we had like mock playoff predictions, but this is the real deal considering the playoffs are starting this week. So who wants to go first?
Well, are we doing Xfinity and Cup, or are we just doing Cup?
I don't know. We don't have the time to do both Xfinity and Cup, and Truck. So
I guess we'll do Cup. Yeah, Cup. Let me get my bracket out. So I made like a little bit of a bracket, and I'll probably end up talking a little bit more than I should, but I will say my predictions. Okay, so heading into the playoff, I got every single one of these drivers correct that are in there except for one. I thought DeBendetta was going to be in there over Almirola. But nevertheless, drivers I have advancing to the round of 12, Denny Hamlin, now this one I might end up having to change after the tweets that came out today, but I have Hamlin winning at Darlington. But I don't know how that's going to work now after the tweets that came up today about him. I have Truex Jr. winning at Richmond. He's really consistent at that track, and I could see him winning there yet again in the Bass Pro Shops car. And I have, Joey Logano sweeping the Bristol races. He's going to advance with a win at Bristol, and he has a pretty good record there. Other drivers I have advancing to the round of 12, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, Harvick squeaking in, Byron Blaney, and Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell will get in. And some of the drivers that I don't have advancing are Tyler Reddick, Michael McDowell, Almirola. So moving on to the round of 8, I have Kyle Busch winning at Las Vegas. And he's done really well there in the past. That it was hard for me to pick whether Keselowski or Kyle Busch would win that race, but I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. The Talladega race, I don't think a playoff driver is going to win that race. I think it might be an upset win. I could see DeBenedetto winning that race. But Charlotte, I have Kyle Larson winning. And the other drivers I have advancing to the round of 8 are Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney. So I don't think Harvick's going to advance. I don't think Christopher Bell's going to advance, or Byron, or in fact Bowman. I don't think Bowman's going to make it either. The reason why I put Blaney in here was because the tracks for the schedule of the round of 12 have been really good for Blaney. He's done really good at Talladega and super speedways, and he's done well at Charlotte. He won the first road course race at Charlotte in 2018, excuse me. Now moving on to the drivers advancing to the championship 4. I have Kyle Larson winning 2 races in a row. He's going to win at Texas. I don't have a playoff driver winning at Kansas, but I think Alex Bowman's going to win that race. Truex Jr. win at Martinsville. He's won at Martinsville multiple times in the past, including this year. So I think Truex Jr. is going to advance. And the other 2 drivers I have making it to the championship 4 are Brad Keselowski and Chase Elliott. Championship at Phoenix. This is really, really hard to predict. I don't think Keselowski win in his final race with Penske. I don't see him winning it. Kyle Larson. For me, it's either between Kyle Larson or Truex Jr. I could see Elliott. I mean, Elliott winning back to back. I just don't see that happening, even though he's been pretty good at Phoenix. Truex Jr., just with his experience, I think would definitely have an edge. And Kyle Larson, it's kind of hard to go against him after the amazing season he's had. So my official pick to win the championship this year is Martin Truex Jr. Even though I'm not a Truex Jr. fan, I'd rather see a Hendrick driver win. So that is my prediction. Crickets.
DJ?
So I just for the sake of time, I'll tell you my first 4 out, and then I'll pick a champion. So after this first round, I'm gonna say McDowell, Almirola, and Harvick, and I think the bottom 4, Tyler Reddick, they're probably not going to advance to the next round. And then for my championship pick, I think Kyle Busch wins it. I'd love to pick my driver, but I'm big on jinxes, so I'll say Kyle Busch, and hopefully that jinxes him.
Okay, so also for time reasons, I'll just predict who's going to the round of 12 and then my championship pick. So for this weekend's race at Darlington, I'm going to say Martin Truex repeats and he wins again. Then Richmond, I'm going to go, I forgot. I picked somebody. I think it was, crap, I forgot. Oh yeah, Denny Hamlin, that's who, my bad. And then Bristol, I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. Also making it in Larson, Blaney, Truex, Elliott, Bowman, Byron, Logano, Keselowski, Busch, Kurt Busch, Bell, and the 4 out, and Harvick, and then the 4 out are Reddick, McDowell, Almirola.
That's 3 out.
I know. I'm trying to think of something else, but yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
That's a blooper reel, definitely.
So mine's kind of similar to Mike's and Laugh Labs.
All right, guys, we're back. Our apologies, Zoom cut out. So Cam, you were saying?
Yeah. So my picks. I'm gonna do what Mike and Laugh Labs did. Mine are actually kind of similar. So I have, for the 4 that are out, I have Almirola being out, McDowell being out, Reddick being out, and Hamlin being out. And for the winner, I have Kyle Busch winning. I just think he's had a dominant season, really. He's just looked really good. Well, not a dominant, but he has looked really good, and I just see him winning this again.
Okay, so because I rushed, I have to redo my 4. So like I said, Truex, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, I think are going to be the race winners in order. Then Larson, then Elliott, then Bowman, then Byron, Logano, Keselowski, Bell, and then I think the 4 out are going to be Kurt Busch, unfortunately. Oh yeah, Bowman I think will make it in. Almirola, McDowell, and Reddick. All right, guys, so I'm just editing this video right now, and I realized because I rushed, I forgot to pick a champion. So my championship pick is Kyle Larson. Back to the video. All right, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and go into the top 10. This is top 10 Darlington moments. Cam, start us off at number 10.
And coming at number 10, we have Todd Bodine and Jamie McMurray, crazy finish in 2003.
Where he's been tough all day, getting off into turn 3. He's going to close the gap, but I think it's going to be too little too late. He's there, but he can't make the pass. Try on the outside, just like yesterday. Here they come at the wow. And it's McMurray. No, it's not. It's Bodine. Bodine. Jamie slides across the finish second. Mate, 2 days in a row. 2 fabulous finishes. Oh, my gosh. Scott Riggs finishes 3rd. Not burned the tires off, but this Chevy Monte Carlo was awesome all day. We got a little loose when Scott ran me down past us. We were getting a little loose right there, but we had enough for the end. Now, what is it about you and these great finishes? Your last one in Kentucky, a thriller there too. Trying to kill me. Trying to kill you? Trying to kill me. Yeah, I'll tell you. We
This is in the Xfinity Series. Stan Brett was on pole for the 2003 Darling Raceway at the Com 200. You know, crazy race.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite finishes in the Busch Series. 2003, it's crazy. All the crazy finishes that week, all those finishes that weekend were crazy. The truck races had a close one with Bobby Hamilton and Ted Musgrave. The Xfinity race on the Saturday with Jamie McMurray and Todd Bodine. I thought McMurray was going to win that, and then he gets turned coming off turn 4, and it was just very close at the line. They both were crashing. Then, of course, the Sunday race, we'll get into that later on the list. But moving on to number 9, we got the finish of the 1987 Trans-South 500. Dale Earnhardt passes Bill Elliott, who runs out fuel on the final lap for all the cliff. So in this race, Ken Schrader started on the pole, but Dale Earnhardt was the class of the field. He led 229 of 367 laps. There was 10 cautions. The race lasted 4 hours and 5 minutes. Bill Elliott, trying to stretch out his fuel, was out ahead in the final laps, but he ended up running out fuel in the final turns, and Dale Earnhardt took the lead and the win. And if I'm correct, I might have number 8 as well. Let me check. Yes, I do have number 8. Sorry about that. So at number 8, we got Hendrick Motorsports' 200th win, which Jimmy Johnson captured for them. Roll the clip.
Gas. He'll make it around, but will he get there first?
Oh, yeah, he's got a nice, he's got a comfortable lead. He's in good shape.
Jimmy Johnson sails off into turn 3. Hamlin is going to have to deal with Stewart for second. Hendrick Motorsports' 200th Sprint Cup victory belongs to Jimmy Johnson in the Southern 500.
There you go, Mr. Rick. Got you one.
Nice job, boys. 200. Nice.
Rick Hendrick and the hundreds of employees of Hendrick Motorsports that have carefully planned this celebration for such a long time will finally get to enjoy it, and they'll get to do it at the granddaddy of all NASCAR races, the Southern 500.
So in the 2012 Southern 500, Hendrick Motorsports got their 200th win in their team's history. Greg Biffle won the pole for that race, but Jimmy Johnson led the most laps with 134. He ended up pulling off the field in a green-white checkered finish for the win. It was his first of the season. This race is also famous for Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman's post-race altercation.
You see Kurt Busch as the race winding down. This brought out the last caution here. Ryan Newman in the car right behind, 39.
Ryan gets hit when he slowed down to avoid Kurt Busch. Really, that wasn't Kurt's fault as much as anything. It just was a racing accident late in the race. He spun out. Another crew member, one of Ryan's crew members, comes over to Kurt Busch's team and starts voicing his displeasure. And then on pit road, watch this.
Yeah, this is after the race is completely over. The drivers aren't necessarily involved, although we did see Newman go over and talk to Kurt Busch. Remember, it was a year ago after the race, one of those in your face with Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. This time it's team members of Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman.
That's just Southern 500 emotion. Like you said, we saw it last year with Harvick and the other Busch, and now tonight the crew guys are getting into it. The drivers had a conversation after the race, Ryan and Kurt, and they seemed fine with what happened. Then the crews got involved.
With officials and Newman's crew. So moving on to number 7.
Yeah, coming in at number 7 is Jeff Gordon's thrilling finish with Jeff Burton. Here's the clip.
Looks like Jeff Gordon had to get off the throttle that time off 2 for some reason.
And Burton closes in. How much is a million? Well, 1,000 times 1,000. Or perhaps you can better understand in these terms.
Here he goes. Look here. Oh, they make contact.
Oh, and more contact. They go down into the corner side by side, and Jeff Gordon holds off the challenge. This is the last lap of the race, folks. They're on to the backstretch, and Gordon lengthens his lead just a little bit. He lengthens it out as Jeff Burton and Dale Jarrett drop back just a little bit. Here he comes off of the 4th corner. Jeff Burton will make a challenge off the corner onto the straightaway.
Yeah, we did
But Jeff Gordon wins it.
Holy.
So this was his 28th career win in 1997. He would lead the final 72 laps after getting by Dale Jarrett and held off Jeff Burton. Bobby Labonte was on pole.
And moving on to number 6, we got the finish of the 1980 Southern 500. It was Terry Labonte's first career win. Roll the clip.
Last lap and then slipstreaming by, that just doesn't apply here. The slipstream, the drafting doesn't work. These guys are going for it right now.
Into turn, and now they're on the wall. Pearson is still going. Benny Parsons coming down onto the apron. Earnhardt is slowed down up onto the wall. The yellow flag will come out, but it's a race to the start-finish line from here. Whichever car gets there first will win the race. Pearson is still running in car number 1, but he's slowing down. Forget about Bonnet on the left of the screen. He's a lap behind. The question is whether David Pearson can get there first. Out of the car behind him, Terry Labonte, 44.
Oh, Labonte. I think it was Labonte to you. I can't tell.
Almost impossible to tell. Terry Labonte in car number 44 was the other car on the lead lap as they came down the front straight. The question is whether he got there ahead of David Pearson. The yellow flag was out. The winner is whichever car got to that start-finish line first and got to the yellow flag first. And right now, I think we have to assume it's Terry Labonte.
Yep, this is actually the last lap of the race, and it's being run under the yellow, which means that if Pearson was in fact behind in the line, he cannot come back past and take the lead. This is Labonte's race.
Are they going to get the checkered flag? Yes, they are. Terry Labonte gets the checkered flag. He has not led at any point during the race. He only led for the last lap under the caution flag after just getting across the start-finish line ahead of David Pearson. And there is Labonte's pit crew going absolutely wild. This young man's only 23 years old. Here's another look at that finish.
Okay, now you can see the little smoke coming out of the back of Pearson's car. That's partly because the whole right side of his car, the side we can't see, has been damaged. The tires are rubbing badly. In fact, his whole toe in and alignment is not correct. That's why Labonte has this extra speed. They're only a few yards short of the finish. Pearson tries to pinch him off here, but Labonte is coming right down onto the pit apron to make the pass, and you'll see
the line on your screen. You'll see the line. It's coming up on the left of your screen right here. And there Labonte has gotten past Pearson, and there it is.
Incredible.
So in this race, I actually made that video you saw on the screen. That video was on my channel. But that was a great, great finish. One of my favorites. Basically, Darrell Waltrip, he dominated that race. He led 196 of the 367 laps in that race. But with 39 to go, his timing chain broke. So the win came down between 3 drivers. There's David Pearson, who surprisingly was driving the number 1 car. We got Benny Parsons and a young Dale Earnhardt battling for the win. Coming to 2 laps to go, or actually with 2 laps to go, going into turn 1, all 3 of the leaders crashed. They got loose in oil, hit the wall. Terry Labonte, who had come out of nowhere, was about to get the win. David Pearson, though, he kept driving. He was still trying to truck that car across the line, but Terry Labonte edged him at the line. There wasn't official scoring back then, so they don't know how close the margin of victory was, but it had to be, if I were guessing, 0.0045 seconds. It was an incredible finish. It was Terry Labonte's first career win.
Coming at number 5, we have Kevin Harvick versus Kyle Busch and Regan Smith's upset win in 2011.
4 to go this time.
4 to go and 3
Oh, it's Boyer in the wall. Hard wreck.
He stays out.
More wrecks down here, turn 4. Big wreck. Harvick in trouble.
Keep going. We can hit the damn thing.
3 of the 4 Childress cars in trouble in the closing laps. Stretch. Stewart loses a bit of ground and loses 2 spots. It is Smith into turn 3. Edwards has the grip, and here he comes to the white flag. Regan Smith 1 lap away. Paul Menard blowing up in the back of the pack. White flag.
Can he do it? Can he hold him off? No matter what, we've got a race now. They'll race it back if we don't get a caution.
Boy, Regan got off of the turn 2.
Oh, he hits the wall.
He's all right. He's okay. He got off there great.
But Edwards didn't jump inside.
They're all wrecking behind him, but it's okay.
Can he hold him off? One more corner.
Here we come to the flag.
He's
Regan
got him.
Smith
I think
looking
he's got
for
him.
his first Sprint Cup win. Edwards, two-car length flag. Smith gets the flag, and this time he'll get to keep it.
How about that?
I love you guys, man. That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yes.
And Harvick and Busch.
He's after him. Yeah, this has just started now.
Kyle says, I know how you're going to have to. This ain't going to happen too good.
There was a pass, there was contact, and then as Boyer went into the fence, Kyle Busch came and turned Kevin Harvick around.
We know Harvick is he plays rough, especially when the race is over with. I've seen him climb over people's cars to get to him.
We've got cars overheated. We've got drivers overheated.
And we got wrecked cars. And
Bobby Labonte crashed on the final lap. Harvick looking in his mirror.
Here he comes. He says, okay, this is enough. I'm going back here and we're going to have a little talk. And there goes his car. That car just took off.
Meanwhile, tempers overflow back in the garage area between Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch's team.
Regan Smith stayed out on a late caution while everyone else pitted and held off Carl Edwards for his first official win in a dramatic finish. This race is mainly known for Kyle Busch dumping Kevin Harvick, which resulted in their pit road altercation.
And at number 4 is Richard Petty's scary crash in 1970. Here's the clip.
Going to crash on the home stretch. A car upside down.
And that's
a
Richard
blue
Petty.
car. It is Richard Petty.
I jumped off the score stand and started running as fast as I could.
I was working in the booth with Jim McKay for ABC. The position that he was in, it looked like blood coming out. It was a scary scene.
At that time, I used to run with a rag in my mouth. Well, them rags got to coming out the windows and stuff and looked terrible. I think the TV camera said, you know, get away from that. He's coming apart inside that car.
And he certainly appears to be unconscious. The pit crew running out. This could be a very bad accident to one of the best-known race drivers in the world.
So this is one of the most iconic crashes in NASCAR. He hit the inside wall and flipped over, barrel rolling actually a few times. And this wreck was most known for him sticking his arms out the window to show the officials that he was okay. This is what invented the Winnonet and what made them signal to the officials that they are okay by dropping it.
I don't think he was signaling he was okay. He actually broke his shoulder, but yeah, it looked like there was blood on the ground, but it turned out those were red rags that were in his car. And we actually had this on a top 10 list earlier this year. It was the worst Darlington crashes. We covered this before. And going into that weekend, he was supposed to drive the famous Wing 43 car, but during practice, he wrecked, and they just decided to not use the Wing, and turned out bad. But thankfully, he was okay. It was one of the scariest crashes in NASCAR.
I 100% think that Richard Petty had those red rags just to freak everybody out, you know? Because me, when I was younger, when seeing that, I thought it was his brains. So.
Wow. Yeah, when I first saw that myself, I honestly thought it was blood. You know, scared me. I was like 8 when I first saw that. It was pretty crucial. I don't know what I'm saying. Graphic, it appeared. But moving on to number 3. Yeah, I think I have number 3. Yeah, I have number 3, number 2. So with number 3, we have the finish of the 1979 Rebel 500. It was a very, very epic battle between the King and Jaws. Roll the clip.
Hey, look, I think he's going to do it. He's sure going to try it. Darrell Waltrip moving alongside Petty. Again, door handle to door handle. This time he gets the nose in front. And this time he's done it. Richard getting loose, but getting control of the car. Richard had to back off there because out with 9 laps left to go. Somebody almost hit that tire. Yeah, and there's the car that dropped it. Now, this is one of the good things about NASCAR. There's the tire sitting in the middle of that racetrack. This car is driving around the racetrack without that front tire on. Sparks flying out of it. It's gone into the back of the... And Richard Petty just avoiding the tire right now, and he nearly got loose. Richard Petty nearly hit another car there in the yellow. The pace car is out.
Yes, but the pace car is coming off.
And they're going to go green, yeah.
Yep, we're going to get the green right now with 5 laps to go. There'll be 5 laps to go when they hit the start-finish line. What a sensational finish this should be. Darrell Waltrip out in front, Richard Petty second, Donnie Allison third. There they go, into turn 1. The white car with green is Waltrip, then Richard Petty. And now Donnie Allison is right behind them again. Remember, he was able to close up under the yellow, but immediately seems to be dropping back a little. Just doesn't seem to have the speed of those other 2 cars.
Already, Richard Petty, look how close he is there. He's going under him. It seems to... Oh, car number 88 definitely got high on the racetrack.
Unbelievable.
Really high on the racetrack.
He's got him.
He's got him. Something went wrong here.
As patient and as capable a race as you could expect today. Hanging in there in third place behind the other 2 cars, which obviously seem to be faster than he is today, although he sat on the pole. That was qualifying, and that's a different situation from the race. Here comes Waltrip again, going down low, trying to retake the lead from Petty. And as he go into turn 1, he's got it again. Richard.
And Richard again getting low. It seems to me that Darrell Waltrip's car is not handling so well going out of these corners, and they're going down side by side going into turn 3. Richard Petty takes the lead again. The crowd on their feet, and Darrell Waltrip goes underneath of Richard Petty. I've never seen such a good close race as this. And look how close they are. They touch.
Look at the crowd waving and shouting. They've never seen anything better than this, and Donnie Allison down low is into it now. He has somehow caught up with the others, although they had no traffic or anything. Maybe he had just a little something he was saving.
The 2 front cars certainly were slowing up there because of them being got the draft and got involved there. But look at them now, they almost touched there. Once again coming through turn 4.
Any one of these 3 cars could still win the race as the white flag comes out. 1 lap to go in the Rebel 500, and there goes Darrell Waltrip for the lead. Donnie Allison still hanging behind Richard Petty. Petty now coming down low. Again, they're side by side. Well, you can see it happening right before you. They're coming to turn 3. 2 more turns to go. Richard Petty still side by side. Donnie Allison still hanging in third. Oh! Petty has got to leave it. There comes Waltrip down below him as Petty stood up high. Donnie Allison trying to move past Petty into second place. They're coming to the finish line. It is Darrell Waltrip winning the Rebel 500. Petty is second, and Donnie Allison is third by about 3 feet. Jackie, what a motor race.
So in this race, Darrell Waltrip actually dominated. He was leading 242 of 367 laps, and he had an insane battle for the win with Donnie Allison and Richard Petty. And coming to the end of the race, Richard Petty did lead 89 laps in this race, but towards the final turns, Darrell Waltrip kind of backed out, or sort of like hit the brakes early. So Richard Petty shot out ahead of him, and then he crossed over the King and took the win. And it was pretty crazy. It was a very smart move for Waltrip, and a lot of people didn't think he would pull that off, considering he was still young to the sport. And Richard Petty got outclassed that day. And the win expanded Darrell Waltrip's point lead to 81 over Bobby Allison. It was his first win at Darlington. Correct, up number 2 as well. At number 2, we got Bill Elliott becoming the first driver to win the Winston Million. Roll the clip.
Flag is coming up this time around. You can see the fans urging him on. Bill Elliott has just 1.366 miles to go. Elliott around turn number 1. There's Ernie Elliott, the man who makes all the decisions down in the pit area. Elliott is out of turn number 2. He's down the backstretch. Bill Elliott, at this historic old race plant, is running in the tire track to people like Johnny Mance, who won the first race back in 1950 here. Connie Flop, Buck Baker. Bill Elliott is racing into the record books. Bill Elliott is going toward immortality. Bill Elliott gets the checkered flag. Bill Elliott has won an additional $1 million in 1985.
So Bill Elliott became the first driver to win the Winston Million, having won the Daytona 500, the Winston 500, and the Southern 500 in the same year, 3 of the 4 biggest races on the NASCAR schedule. And despite breaking a power steering line, Cale Yarborough ended up finishing second. Awesome Bill led 100 laps, getting his second straight win at the track. And having won that race was such a big accomplishment at the time, because back then, you wouldn't win $1 million for a race. And Bill Elliott was able to do so. If I'm correct, Jeff Gordon was the second and only driver to do that as well.
And in at number 1 is Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch's thrilling finish at Darlington in 2003. Here's the clip.
He's going to try to slide under him here. Come on, baby.
And Blaney's coming.
Both these cars are driving terrible right now. Not allowed to go. Nah, they're driving good. Come on, baby. You can do it on this end of the speedway. Come off the 4 and get up alongside of him.
Half a mile
Here
to
he
go.
comes. Here he comes.
Who's going to get off?
Here he comes. Here he comes. He's got him this time.
It's going to be a drag race. Wow! They touch. They touch. Craven got him.
Craven got him.
Craven got him. And
Craven.
So if you don't know this, you've been living under a rock. Most NASCAR fans should know this. Kurt Busch was leading the race, and Craven caught him in turn 4, and they were beating and banging in one of the closest finishes in NASCAR history, and Craven got him.
Yeah, it is tied for the closest finish in NASCAR history, 0.003 seconds. It's tied with Jimmy Johnson's at Talladega in 2011. And Kurt Busch, actually, his power steering broke in the closing lap, so he was trying so hard to not run into Craven, he said afterwards, but the two bumped and banged, and it was an amazing finish. Ricky Craven, a lot of people didn't expect him to win that race. He did start sort of like towards the front, but I don't think a lot of people expected him to be up front contending for the win. He had one at Martinsville in 2001, if I'm correct, but a lot of people were surprised that he was up there about to win the race, and it was a very, very epic moment and one of the most iconic in NASCAR history. It definitely deserves the number 1 spot in this week's top 10.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get into this week's picks for the races in Darlington. We got the Truck Series. I believe this is going to be the first race, or the second race for the playoffs, excuse me. I'm going to say John Hunter Nemechek rebounds after that horrible week at Gateway, and he gets his win to lock himself into the playoffs.
Trying to pull up the entry list right now. Could someone possibly go ahead of me?
I am also pulling up the entry list.
I will go ahead and say Ben Rhodes. Why not?
That's not a bad pick.
No, he's been pretty close this in the past few races, and I think he can get it done.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Nemechek as well. I'm just kind of winging it here, but he does seem to have some good starting position, so we'll see how he goes.
I don't want to get a pick wrong because it seems like every time I go against everyone else's guesses, they get it right, I get it wrong. So I'm going to go with Nemechek as well because I don't want to get another pick wrong.
And so for the Xfinity Series, could you guys possibly go ahead and go ahead of me?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go if that's okay. And I'm going to go with Harrison Burton. I think Harrison Burton can get it done in Darlington.
So there's actually, if I'm correct, Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin are actually going to be in this race as well. Same thing as Austin Dillon. He's going to be driving the 31 car. This is a tough one for me. I could see Harrison Burton winning this race because the 20 car has won at Darlington a couple times. So I'm very tempted to pick him because I could see him winning. But I'm going to go different. I'm going to do something different here. And I'm going to pick Brandon Jones to win this race. I know it's kind of a surprise pick, but I'm going with him to win this one.
I'm going with an even more surprising pick. I'm going Dillon, Austin Dillon. I've actually seen him run well before in that car, and I think he could do it again. So, I think Dillon's going to show up.
Well, I'm going to go with I'm going to go with 2 picks here. As Christian mentioned earlier, there were some tweets from Denny Hamlin's wife about him, but we're not going to get into that until there's more info released. So if Hamlin races, I'm going to go ahead and say Hamlin, but if he does not race, I'm going to say Daniel Hemrick. And for the final pick of the week, the Cup race, first race of the playoffs for the Cup Series, like I said earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and say Martin Truex Jr.
As I mentioned earlier in my plat picks, I have Denny Hamlin win this race. But it kind of makes me want to change it now because all the tweets that came out. It makes me want to be like, is this stuff going to get into his head? Because we've seen that happen with other drivers. Denny Hamlin has been really good at Darlington in the past. Same thing as Keselowski. It's just really tough because if none of this tweets, I don't know. I'm not saying that like anything's fake or whatever, but I'm saying if this tweets didn't like come out, I'd definitely keep my pick. I don't know what to say, man. I'll tell you later, Mike, if I change my mind. I'll tell you later. But for now, I'm just going to say Hamlin wins it.
For me, I'm going Larson. I think Larson is going to
win. So I think Tyler Reddick would be a great pick here. Running the wall suits him just like Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson's great here. Average finish is like 6 or something. But I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch. I think this summer is gonna be Joe Gibbs. Like I think they're gonna turn it on. So
interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to see them turn it on, but I could see it.
Yeah. And for my fantasy picks this week, I got Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, Kyle Busch, and William Byron. Martin Truex winning the race, Kyle Busch top Chevy, Kevin Harvick top Ford, Truex top Toyota, Toyota winning manufacturer and winning team Joe Gibbs. And on that note, that will conclude this week's episode.
I could see Harvick doing well in this race. He's won at Darlington before. If I'm correct, he's won the 2014 Southern 500.
Yes.
And Harvick, he's been consistent there, but at the same time, he hasn't won there in a while. So that would be a decent pick, but I would say he'd be like the I guess a sleeper pick for this race, in my opinion. But yeah, that's something I just wanted to add in.
What year was it where Martin Truex ran into Chase Elliott battling for the lead, and I think Kevin Harvick won? It might have been last year or 19.
That was like I think last year.
It was definitely last year. I remember that was last year. And that was one of the greatest moments of my life, seeing Chase Elliott fans and Truex fans going at it.
What's with you and Chase Elliott? Why do you hate him so much?
No, I don't. Well, no, I don't hate him. I just hate the fan base. But I like to see the fan base cry. It's just funny.
See, I'm an Elliott fan, but I don't cry like some of the Elliott fans you're talking about. So
some, it's more like most, but we won't get onto that subject.
Oh man.
Yeah, but anyways, with that note, thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Go follow TJ on Instagram. He makes some pretty good memes. Go subscribe to his podcast. Go to join our fantasy league. Subscribe to us. I don't know if I said that. Like and comment. And we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.
See y'all.